Hi everyone, welcome to week one classes. So today we'll be learning about what is programming and why do we need to learn programming and which programming language that we have to use in this curriculum. So these are some topics that we'll be discussing today, and also we'll be setting up Python environment, why Python is the right choice for us, and also we'll be writing the first program. Yeah, so let's get started. So today, let's start with programming. So, what do you mean by programming and why do we need it? So, we have machine machine as the baseline. So, this is the layers how we define a system. So, the computer that you work on basically has different layers in it. So, the first layer, the base layer, is machine layer, and in this machine layer, all the communication happens with zeros and ones, which is also called as binary, right? So here, the next layer is an intermediate layer. We also call it as, I think, the runtime layer. Runtime layer. Okay. On top of it, we have application layer, right? So these are some layers that what we have, and on top of it, user interface. Interface. Yeah. So whatever you are using that the UI that you are seeing, that is in the topmost layer. So immediately after that, the application that you are using, for example, I'm using a Microsoft Whiteboard. There's an application. So whatever input I'm providing it to the system, that is getting translated to a machine level zeros and ones through this interface. So it happens in layer wise, mechanism. So where exactly the programming falls in? So the programming comes in the runtime layer here. We also do programming in the application layer. So we actually write the program in application layer, and the program runs in runtime layer. And sometimes we directly convert that to binaries, so which can directly run at the machine level as well, right? So that happens in the runtime layer. There are two routes how we can program, right? Um, So the direct method is where you compile a binary code which actually runs at the machine level. So let me close this. Okay. And let me try this. Yeah. So binary files directly communicate with machine, and the program what we write runs in this intermediate layer, runtime layer, right? So there are two routes how we can run the program. So the route one is you compile the code and then you run that in the machine, which is also we call it as binary code, binary compilation, which can directly executed on the machine, also called as exe files that you actually use it for installations and execution. Um, there are other files which you write in Java, uh, Java files, Python files. So for these ones, you need a compiler. Sorry, you need virtual environment. Okay, virtual environment. Okay, so what do you mean by virtual environment? That I'll explain when we write our first program. But just to give you a fair idea on how actually the program works, why do we need programming? This is how programming is very required, because you cannot directly use an application and then it communicates with an machine, whatever customized code that you are writing. So you have to compile it, or you have to create a virtual environment where you can run the program. uh, and how it runs, I'll explain. So, for example, if it's C, C++, or even Go language, this actually converts the code into binary code, binary files, which can directly run machines. But when you use Java or Python, that's not going to happen. It actually compiles during the runtime. So it converts into a byte code, which actually runs on the machine on the go. So it doesn't actually gets compiled first and then runs. It actually runs when you execute that Python code in the Python environment or Java environment. It converts into a byte code and then it runs. So that's the difference. And because of this, there is an advantage, there is a disadvantage with both of it. So I'll explain that next. Okay, clear my screen. Okay, so now next we will learn about why do we choose Python, and what's the difference between Python and Java and all the other libraries, such as other programming languages such as C, C++, and etc. So C, C++ are not used mainly by researchers or scientists. It's from this beginning, it was used mainly by developers to develop some applications. But once the Python was introduced, it actually has a simple syntax, just like a pseudocode. All you need to take care of is indentation. So that's the main reason it became very popular, and especially in the research community, this actually became very common to use Python. And because of that, they created multiple libraries. So there is a huge corpus of libraries where you can directly import those libraries and you can run those programs. But while in C and C++, the amount of libraries that what we have is not to the because compared to Python, it's not so big. But the funny part is, it's also interesting fact that Python actually uses libraries which is written in C++. Yeah. This actually enables Python to actually use the speed of C++, where the code is already converted into that is binary code, and then it actually handovers the execution to C code with some libraries such as NumPy. We will learn about this library as well, TensorFlow, and also PyTorch. So these are some libraries that we'll be using. All these libraries are actually written in C, C++, right? So with just using a simple syntax in Python, we'll be making use of tools that has been written in C++. So that's the main reason why we'll be using Python, and also it is very easy to use, learn programming actually Python. It's very the syntax is just like a pseudocode. You remember it easily when you start writing the program. Um, I'll start explaining about in the next class. But for now, these are some advantages why Python is required, and what are the major differences between the compiled code and on the code that uses a virtual environment. So these are some examples. Okay. Now let's set up our mission. Uh, Also, I'll explain why we'll be using certain version of Python, and how do we set up the environment for Python, and also we'll write our first program in Python. Okay, let's get ready. Let me delete this first. Let me close this. Okay. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to search for Python 3.12. Yeah, you can see that there is a latest version 3.15, I guess, or 3.16. The reason why we are using this 3.12 is sometimes the libraries that are written for especially machine learning and AI, that is Gen AI, these libraries gets outdated, and Python is not very no compatible with previous versions of Python. So if libraries are written for Python 3.12, if something has changed in Python 3.16, then it's not backward compatible. So these are, and this is the main reason. Maybe we'll use different versions of Python altogether by creating virtual environments for each project. For now, to get started, we'll be using Python 3.12. So you can download this here. Let me search. It's been some time. Yeah. Yes. I think this is the one. You can click on here. Download. Yeah, this is 3.12 64-bit version, and you can use the current user here. You can install. Don't have to customize anything. Just install it. It will take some time. I'm actually installing this in virtual machine, so it's a bit slow. I didn't wanted to use my uh, actual machine, so that's how I created a virtual machine so that I can show it to you how to install this program. It's almost done. Meanwhile, we'll also download Visual Code, video code, download, getting downloaded. Let's see what happened with this. Yeah, it's installed, setup was successful. Yeah, there's a warning, disable path length limit. So let's click on this and see what it does. Yeah, that is done. So let's close this. To verify if Python is installed properly, you can just run command and just type hyphen version 2. That's showing it's not installed, but actually we have installed. So let's see what's the problem. Will be there in Learn, and then I think I need to enable the folder options. Show hidden files and folders. Apply. Then app data local. I think this is where I installed it. Let's see. Yeah. Python 1, 2. Let's copy this path and you can just run environmental. Just type env and you get this edit system environment variables. You just need to go here and add this path. So click on path, edit, okay, and then it's actually there. I'm not sure why it's not running. Let me add a new path. This as well. Yeah. So it's okay. It's still there till launcher, but let me add this actual path. Save, save. Okay. Let me try now. Let me open a new session. The previous session. Python. Python version. Oh, still it's not working. That's not as expected. I'm doing this first time in a virtual machine, so I'm not sure what's being wrong. Let me open command here and see if it works. Python version. Yeah, it actually works from there. Okay, let me restart the machine and see once. But that should not be the case with you. You should directly able to execute it. Since I'm using a virtual machine, maybe something is going wrong with virtual machine. Yeah, let me create desktop icon as well here. Okay, next, install. Let it get installed. I'll restart the machine and try again. I'll skip this in the video of the restarting part. That is correct. Let me add it another place. Part, put it. Let me add it here as well. New. Okay, it's windy now. Yeah, it worked. So I think you need to add in two places. Okay, you can open here as well. Environment. So we added here the same path. You need to add here as well system variables. Yeah, then it will run properly. Okay, let's wait for Visual Studio to get installed. I'll fast forward all this installation part. Yeah, while it gets installed, I had made some notes before the video. I thought of talking about few things. I think let's talk about all these points. Yeah, I think this should be enough for the setup. The next class we'll be discussing about data types. Um, Also, I'm thinking of doing videos on data structures and algorithms. It is not required for you, but it will make you a good programmer if you learn data structures and algorithms. There are quite few videos available online, but I didn't see any specific video made on, especially Python. Either it's a paid course or actually, I have not seen VSA on Python. I've seen only in Java. There's a guy called Kunal Kushwaha. His videos are really detailed, longer videos. I like these videos, especially for Java. But in Python, I didn't think anyone has done any videos. Okay, so This is some setup. It's asking me to sign in. For AI power development, you can skip this. This is not required as of now. I actually like dark, continue. I don't need any agent, but let me get started. I can close this. Okay, now you can close. It's installed VS Code. If you want to check if it's working properly, you can open any folder. Let me create a desktop folder here. New folder. Hello world. So since it's our first program, it's practice that we write hello world in anything that we learn very new. So let me just type code space dot so that it will open VS Code in this folder. Yeah, see, it has opened in this folder. You can click on this first. Yeah, the first thing that we have to do is we have to set up a virtual environment. So how do you set up? Just a second. You set up by typing Python -n vnv sorry vnv space dot vn. This dot vnv, this you can write any folder name. This is where you actually store all the libraries, all the packages which you create for this particular environment that you use for this project. Yeah, whichever project that you are using, only for that project this will be limited. So this will actually confine your program execution to only this project. So even if you create a new project or new version of Python, that won't be impacted with this. There is also another package that UV. It's another latest version which we can create packages. Maybe we'll learn more about UVCon as we go on. UCon and UV in when we go into advanced programming. For now, we'll use only the virtual environment. You click on enter. It will create .env folder here. Let's wait for a while. It's creating all the files. Yeah, it's created. Usually, if you are using VS Code, it automatically switches to the virtual environment sometimes. But if it's not switching, all you have to do is you just type this path. Okay, it's Windows, so we have to write. Oh, my keypad is not set properly, so probably I need to see virtual keypad. I need to use virtual keypad. Sorry about that. Keyboard. Yeah, this keyboard is not compatible with UK versions, so I have to find this here. Yeah, and scripts, and then again the slash. Then you just type activate. Yeah, that's all. Now you just press enter. Oh, not be loaded because running script is disabled for the system. Okay, if you face that problem, just click on here, open command prompt. Okay, you do the same thing again. Since you have already created the virtual environment, you don't have to type that again. You just open that virtual environment .venv, and again you have to open keyboard. Sorry, keyboard. clicks again slash activate. Okay. Now if you press enter, this will appear here indicating that you are now into a virtual environment. Okay, so now we have to install one package. So this is your first package that you will be installing. Okay. Sorry, first you have to type Python so that you are it won't redirect to actual Python that is installed in your system. It will refer to the Python that's there in the virtual environment. Okay. Install Jupyter. So Jupyter is a program that actually gives you a notebook which you can run. Is it for running the Python programs in a rough format? You just write the program, you execute a line, you see the output. So this is the best way to learn. So usually researchers use notebooks because it's easy to execute and see the output directly on the notebook. And also you can save all the executions and all the outputs in another formats like HTML or PDF so that it can be shared across with other researchers what you have done, and they can actually rerun those code, and also they can understand what you have written and what are the outputs. It's very easy to use, so we'll be using Jupyter Notebook to learn our fundamentals. Later, we'll be creating, actual production level projects using the modularities of the object-oriented programming. So that will help you a lot. Let's wait for this to get installed. Then I will create a notebook and we will use that notebook to run our first program. Meanwhile, when it's getting installed, I'll create IPYNB. So it should be IPYNB. So this should be the format. Once you create it, it will take some time. Yeah, directly it's showing. So the VS Code already knows uh, if you are using a Python notebook. So it provides this interface. So here it will ask you to select a kernel, right? So it's asking you to install and enable this particular extension. Let's install it. Yeah, it's done. Let me click here now. Yeah, it shows here .env Python. Let's click this. Yeah, now our environment is ready. You can click on code and write our first. Oh, allow this. Okay, let's write our first code. Print. So print is actually a command that is used to print out whatever text data that is there, or uh, a variable data that is stored in a variable. So all this can be printed using print statement. So here we'll write print hello. Okay, this will print hello world. Should I print? Still running. Once this running completes, it will print here. Aha. Okay, let me restart this. I don't know why it's not running. I'm facing a lot of problem in virtual environment. If it doesn't work, I'll show another way how we can run notebooks. Let's wait for this to run. Connecting. Okay, done. So you have successfully run the first Python program. So there is another way how we can run this Python. So we can directly open this folder. So here you open command, and here you can write. I think you won't be able to run Jupyter here because we have installed in the um, virtual environment. Let's try. If it doesn't work, that's good actually. Yeah. So if you had installed in here the same Jupyter package, it install Jupyter, give Python N, with independent Jupyter, plugin install all this package. Okay, it is asking us to add this particular path scripts to path in env, that is environmental variables. If it doesn't run, then we have to do this step. Okay, this is additional. If you want to just use this particular virtual environment, so we are good to start. So this additional step, I'm just making sure that if you are facing any problem installing Jupyter in this environment, so that you can directly run the program through the Python that you have installed on your system instead of using the virtual environment. So I can show it in my laptop as well instead of checking in the virtual environment. So let me minimize this. Let me just open command. I'm just running in my user directory. Jupyter. I've already added this the path that it was informing us to add the scripts path already added. So it will let me run this program directly. We'll just create a server, Jupyter server, on which we will run a web interface actually. So this is localhost 8888 port. So it's like a web page. You can create notebooks here and run those notebooks. Yeah. Let me just create a new one. We'll do the same here as well. Just print. Yeah, it works faster in if you open Jupyter directly. But if you open it inside the virtual environment, it takes some time. So here as well. Okay. Sure. I don't think it will run here because we have to add that path that it has suggested into environmental variables. The software is if it runs. Yeah. Same. So we have to just add that path into the virtual environmental variables inside this virtual machine so that it runs. Okay. So that's it for this week. We won't have any assignment this week. Next week we'll be learning about data types, different data for data types, and then we'll start with some basic programming And then we'll get some assignments as well. Yeah, let's see you in the next class. Thanks everyone for attending this week's session. See you in the next session. Thank you.